Okay, for all my glasses wearers, how long have you been wearing the glasses you have on right now? Because I am the person who will wear scratched up glasses way longer than I should. Russ is always making fun of me. I have a pair of glasses that I've had for probably 5 years. There's a scratch right through the middle of the lens, and I hate wearing them because I hate the scratch, but I don't replace them. I don't know why it feels like replacing glasses is such an ordeal, like such a production. But I just started using Zenni. It was so incredibly easy. I went on the website, I uploaded my prescription, and then I used their virtual try-on feature to see what frames look best on me. And then I picked a couple out, and they arrived at my doorstep. It was the easiest thing I've ever done. Zenni has prescription glasses, sunglasses, and blue light lenses starting at just under $30. So if your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now is the time. Go to zenni.com/podcast and use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. The styles sell out, so don't just sit on it, okay? That's Zenni, ZENNI.com/podcast, promo code podcast15 for 15% off your first order.
Adobe Firefly is the all-in-one creative studio with AI-powered image and video editing for today's creative process. Built for creators of every kind, Firefly helps you generate, edit, and experiment fast. Because the asks aren't getting smaller, the budgets aren't getting bigger, and the timelines, oh yeah, still tight. With all the best creative AI models in one place, Firefly brings your ideas to life. Unlock a better way to make with Adobe Firefly.
This podcast is an unscripted, unedited conversation about true crime. We take the cases very seriously, but I don't take myself seriously at all, and neither should you. Welcome to Wife of Crime.
So, Russ, it was really hard to pick my crime capsule episode because there are so many cases that have impacted me over the last 7 years. But out of all of them, I always come back to this one. Because Sonny Jacobs teaches us that our minds are so powerful. And if you focus on love and positivity, you can literally make it through anything. This is the case of Sonny Jacobs and Jesse Tafero. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Wife of Crime, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband, Russ, true crime stories and he reacts to them.
What's up, folks? It's your boy Russ, a.k.a. the champion, a.k.a. the Knicks champion, a.k.a. I'm a Knick, and a.k.a. that's all I'm thinking about for now, but we could do true crime until I go back to thinking about that again.
For the next 6 months.
6 months?
Until the end of 2026.
No.
Are we going to hear anything other than Knicks talk from you?
First of all, the flag's not coming off my house, so now people are going to know where I live. It's not coming off until there's a new champion.
Really?
I'm a champion until there's not a champion.
So Knicks flag stays on all the way through next year, through the finals next year, through 2027. We'll see what happens.
And if they win again, it stays up another year.
Okay. All right, everybody. Well, I'm Jess, and we're back for another crime capsule episode.
That's right. We get to see what Jess picked.
Yes, you guys get to see my pick, and I think a lot of people will be surprised by it. But before we do that, I have an announcement. It is someone special's birthday coming up.
Yeah.
The day this episode drops, June 25th.
True that.
It is Russell's birthday.
All Knicks championship gear will be accepted if you want to send some my way. You know, they got a lot of nice stuff on Fanatics, trophies, autographs, you know.
If you want to send him anything nice, we will post our P.O. box. Not really. I don't think we're going to post it.
No, I would post it if someone really asked. Someone did ask for it, say they've been wanting to send us stuff. I'm obviously joking because I get uncomfortable when people buy me stuff, but not necessarily now because I get uncomfortable when people buy me stuff because they buy me stuff that I don't want, and I'm like, they waste their money. I'm not even going to use
What
this
if someone
shit.
buys you something you really want?
No, but now I want so much stuff
Because,
that I don't have
because of the Knicks.
Because they just won the championship. This is a true crime podcast.
Okay. So it's your birthday. You're 29 and feeling fine.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, like, I don't know if I could pull off 29 anymore. So I was trying to think of my new age.
Okay.
You know?
What do you think you could pull off?
You know, for people that don't check ID,
Uh-huh.
I could pull off like 34.
I think so. I think you could pull off 34.
Even, you know, but for like a bartender or someone to be like, relax, old man. But I am getting old, though.
You definitely don't look your age at all.
Yeah, 29, feeling fine. And
34, feeling fine.
34, I'm going to be here for more.
Oh, that's good.
You know, I'm always spinning and winning, baby.
You're always
Stick
trying.
with me.
You're always rhyming.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. But there was a pimp in distress moment. And, you know, speaking of my birthday, it made me think of this. I was watching TV the other day, and I realized I'm so old that I was able to see my eyebrow hair while I was watching TV. I was like, Jess, I could see my eyebrow hair.
Those things are getting scraggly. We gotta groom. You're really good at grooming too. Usually, I mean, he's very well groomed. Always has been.
All right, I'm gonna be vulnerable.
Yeah.
I haven't really groomed my eyebrows because for some reason, like, I'm not losing my hair, but my eyebrows are thinning out. That's what happens. You know, you lose eyebrow hair. I used to have like a lot of eyebrow hair.
You did have thicker eyebrows it's true. They have thinned out, but it's funny how that made you feel vulnerable.
Yeah, I'm talking about my, like, you know, I leave my scraggly hairs there. I'm hanging on by a thread like a comb over. I have comb over eyebrows. I look like your boy Yahoo or something with the comb over.
Yahoo? Who's Yahoo?
The Israel
Bibi Netanyahu.
Yeah, Yahoo.
He still has the comb over?
Yeah, he ain't letting that shit go. He got all the power in the world, but he can't fix that shit. Yeah.
Wow. So everyone wish Russ a happy birthday. If you're listening to this on June 25th, it's Russell's birthday. We'll probably post about it on the socials.
But if I had to choose between losing my eyebrow hair, you know, I still have eyebrow hair. It's just not like
it's not
how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to choose between my head or my eyebrows, I would choose my eyebrows every time.
Of course. You don't want to lose the hair on your head. So in our last Crime Capsule episode, we talked about covering the Michael Jackson documentary for June True Crime and Chill.
No.
And just like we discussed, Netflix is dropping bombs back to back to back. They just keep dropping these viral A+ #1 crime documentaries back to back. And between 2 weeks ago when we said that and now, they've already put out another one that everyone is literally begging us to watch. So I think we're going to do this one first before the Michael documentary. It's called Maternal Instincts, and everyone wants us to watch it. They all say, I want to see what Russ has to say about this.
Well, documentaries on Netflix, they're doing a good job, but they're slacking in the podcast pickups.
Yeah, they are.
We're not there yet. You know, if you want to catch fish, you need to like have bait.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to set up these damn cameras.
Yes, we are.
We here, Netflix.
We're coming. We're coming. We're coming to YouTube. So that's what we're going to watch for our True Crime and Chill next. And then if Netflix ends up dropping another better documentary, we'll just keep going with the trends because they keep dropping these #1s and everyone wants us to watch them. So we got to do it.
Yeah, well, it's like they're only competing with themselves, really.
Yeah, but they're going viral, these things.
HBO used to have some good ones.
HBO still has really good documentaries.
I think that's because Vice went to shit for a while. They went too political nonstop.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, ugh, get away from me.
Well, HBO does have really good documentaries usually, too. So that's the plan for Patreon. And Russ has the patron shout-outs.
All right, folks. So you know the deal. We have a Patreon. There are some perks over there besides just supporting us. You could get rid of commercials, even though we love our sponsors. You could get some extra merch.
And you could be part of the book club. And we're having our book club meetings the second week of July. So that'll be exciting.
Oh, yeah, that's true. We do have a book club, and I'm finished with the book.
Yeah, Russ read the book this time.
The problem is I'm going to have to remember it. And there are also a shit ton of bonus episodes of True Crime and Chill.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll shout you out. So this week's joiners are Molly, Marissa, Rachel, Lucy, Becca, Corey, Susan, Natalie, Melissa, Truck, Avery, Joggy Mom, Jen, Brittany, Amber, Mia, Gina, and Yasmin. So cheers, guys.
Cheers. You missed one of them. It said Amber with 2 R's, right?
Oh.
Amber with the 2 R's or something like that.
What are you, a pirate?
Arr. Cheers, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Patreon. We love you guys and our crime family. You know, not that we have favorites or anything, but I have to say, if you join the crime family, you might be considered a favorite. Are we allowed to say that?
Well, we all have favorites. Like, everyone knows who their mom's favorite is. Like, Jess is the favorite of her mom until the grandkids came, and now she's chop suey or liver or something chopped. You know, I was my mom's favorite.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much competition between my brother and sister, so that was like, I was the hands-down favorite. We all know who the favorite is.
All right, and you have one more job.
All right, so my other job is Review of the Week. And this one is from Amanda Pop. Speaking my language. You're never too young to be stupid, in quotations, Russ. The number of quotes I've saved from your show in the last 2 weeks is finding it borderline stalker-ish. I love the comments that you don't edit them out. We need more podcasts like yours that aren't afraid to tell it how it is. Thanks.
Aw.
Appreciate that.
We are one of a kind. You're not going to find more podcasts like ours. That's the thing.
Yeah, in true crime, there really isn't like a buffoon with a smart wife.
So that should be our description now on Instagram. A true crime podcast with a buffoon and a smart wife. I love it.
Yeah.
So funny. No, you know what it is?
Or the only true crime podcast where the host literally can't stand up to his wife.
I can't, Russ. Stop.
We probably are the only one right now.
The
well,
only
at least
true crime podcast with a paralyzed person?
Maybe.
Probably, yeah. I like the buffoon with the smart wife better.
Yeah, that was
pretty good.
I was listening to the podcast, this current episode that we're going to do.
We were talking, yeah, you were listening to it to refresh your memory.
Yeah, to refresh my memory.
Uh-huh.
And I forgot what I said, but I was thinking, where do I get this shit from? It was another quote. Hit us up with your favorite quotes. Like, there's so many I forget.
Yeah, I forget them too. Because after we get the episode out, I don't go back and re-listen. So I forget all the quotes. And
I usually don't listen after we leave this room because it's a little cringe. And this has been a little hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to these episodes. Because
re-listening to old episodes?
Ugh.
It's cringy for you? It's like the video I posted on Instagram of Russ talking to one of his friends. And I said, this is what it's like being friends with Russ your whole life. Because he's literally telling him how terrible his hair looked. And he just got a haircut.
Well, he had a ponytail for years. And obviously, if you're a grown man with a ponytail and you're not in the WWE, you look weird. And he had one for years. Then he got a haircut.
And then Russ made fun of his haircut.
And that shit sucked too.
And I had to post it because it was just exactly how he is. If you're going to be friends with Russ, you know you're going to get the truth all the time. So we've been doing these crime capsule episodes the last couple weeks, and it was really fun to go back through the entire catalog and choose, the one we want to take out of the vault to talk about. You did the Tita family Christmas murders.
AKA my boy Rolf.
AKA Rolf. And when we posted that, a lot of people hadn't listened to it in years, just like us. And they were like, oh my God, I remember this episode. And they re-listened to it and commented all about it because it is such a crazy case. For me, I had, obviously, Russ will laugh at this, I had a really hard time picking the episode I wanted to do because there are so many cases throughout the last 6, almost, oh my gosh, July will be 7 years that we've been doing this podcast, that I have been impacted by. It was so hard to pick one of them.
I was telling Jess, I don't know if any of you guys' wives are like this, but if Jess is going to watch something on Netflix, it just won't happen. She'll be on there for 3 hours. She has to find the best possible thing on Netflix. And that reminded me, I was like, Jess, there's no way our relationship would have worked through the Blockbuster era.
I would have been in Blockbuster for hours.
I would have dumped you. You would have had mad late fees because you forget about every subscription. We wouldn't have made it. We would have broke up over Blockbuster.
Really? You think
100%.
so?
I would have not tolerated that bullshit.
I used to be in Blockbuster for hours picking a movie, and I always returned them late. And remember when Netflix was DVDs that you had to send back? You know how many Netflix DVDs I ended up keeping?
And buying.
Because I never sent them back.
We wouldn't have made it.
Oh, whatever.
That's where I drew the line.
Well, it took me a really long time to decide which episode I was going to do. I was between Allison Bota. I was between the Cleveland kidnappings. I was between multiple of the survivor cases. I was going to pick Taken, the one Miriam Rodriguez, when she went and hunted down the Los Zetas gangsters that murder her daughter in Mexico. I was like, I couldn't choose. But there is one case that has impacted me for years. And I first heard about this case way before we started the podcast. And when I heard this, I heard it on the podcast called Wrongful Conviction, because I had never really listened, even though I listened to true crime and I consumed a lot of true crime, I didn't really pay close attention to exoneration cases and wrongful conviction cases until I started listening to Wrongful Conviction. And it opened my mind to how corrupt our system can be. It was 2016 when I first heard this case of Sonny Jacobs and Jesse Tafero. I was in nursing school. I was sitting in my parking lot at school. I missed half of my class that I needed to go to because I wanted to finish the episode because I was so invested. And it was really interesting because Jason Flom, who's the person who hosts Wrongful Conviction, he was interviewing Sonny. So the whole case is told from her perspective. So you're listening to her tell everything. And that was back in 2016. We didn't start Wife of Crime until 2019. But I held on to that case, just constantly thinking about it. And then when we decided to start the podcast, I knew after listening to Wrongful Conviction for years, I was like, we have to cover exoneration cases. I don't think enough podcasts talk about them, and they're so crazy. This is one of the exoneration cases that we've covered. This episode first aired back in January of 2022. After this episode aired, Christina, who is Sonny's daughter, reached out to me. And we messaged back and forth about her mom. And we talked all about the case. And she sent the episode to Sonny to listen to. And she thanked me for talking about her parents and talking about her dad, which you guys will hear all about what happened to her dad. And just talking about the miscarriage of justice that went on in her family. So it was really cool to talk to her daughter. And it was really cool that Sonny got to hear this episode from us.
That's crazy.
This case is so impactful too because, we talk a lot about survivor cases. And don't get me wrong, the survivors that we have talked about and will continue to talk about go through unimaginable situations, unimaginable pain, unimaginable crazy things. But I think this case hit me so hard because Sonny just kept getting screwed over. Everything that could go wrong in this woman's life went wrong.
Yep.
And as you listen to this case, it's just like one thing after another. And you're like, can this just stop? Can she just have a peaceful freaking life? So her story is so impactful in that way. But the other thing that makes her story so impactful is who she was to the core. Like, she was this woman who wanted to promote peace and love, and that's the energy she put out into the world. And Sonny fell in love with meditation and yoga while she was in solitary confinement. And yoga and meditation for me has been huge in my life. I need a nervous system reset multiple times a week. And meditation is something for me that has helped me through some of the hardest times of my life. And so I totally relate to her. Her story just hit me hard. I've thought about it for years. And after connecting with her daughter, it really meant a lot to me after we put this episode out. So this is one that will forever live in my heart. And I tell people this story that I meet all the time because everyone always asks me, what is the craziest case? And there are about 5 or 10 that I always rattle off, but this is always included in that lineup because when you hear everything that went on, it's unbelievable that someone could go through this much and come out the other side of it and maintain such positivity and love. So without further ado, this is our episode titled Sunny Days Ahead about Sonny Jacobs and Jesse Tafero. And stay tuned for the end because after it's over, we're going to come back to 2026 and we're going to talk a little bit more about the case. Here we go. So, as I've spoken about before, I love the podcast Wrongful Conviction with Jason Flom. It's one of my favorite podcasts of all time. I've been listening to it since 2016.
Flom is my favorite dessert.
No, it's Flom. F-L-O-M, not flan.
Flong.
No, Flom.
Jason Flong. You're a sweet fella.
Anyway. So I've been listening to this podcast for years. And even though it simultaneously usually makes me incredibly angry to listen to it, I've also learned a lot. Because there's a lot of things you don't realize that happens to innocent people in these types of situations. So the first time I heard this particular case that I'm telling you today, this was back in 2016, and I remember hearing it, and I was in utter shock. Like, it impacted me so much. I remember exactly where I was when I was listening to it. I had no idea something like this could happen to somebody. And I've since learned that sadly there are thousands of wrongful convictions, and we've covered a few on the podcast, and they're just always devastating. Sonny Jacobs and Jesse Tafero were failed by everyone, from cops to the judge to the lawyers to the jury. They were literally failed every step of the way. But Sonny came out the other side, stronger and more resilient than ever. She's truly inspiring and just a wonderful woman. And this story is obviously crazy, but something that when you listen to it, you're like, all right, if this lady can come out and be as positive and as beautiful and wonderful as she is at the end, I can get through anything.
Oh, I'd be petty as a motherfucker if I was wrongfully convicted. I'm roasting the judge. I'm doing all kind of stuff.
Well, she's not. And that's what makes her a wonderful soul. So this is the case of Sonny Jacobs and Jesse Tafero. Are you ready?
Yes.
So in 1976, Sonia Sonny Jacobs was 27 years old. She was a mother of 2. Her son was 9 and her daughter was 10 months old. She was originally from North Carolina. And Sonia says that her and her husband, Jesse Tafero, they were self-described hippies. They were artists, vegetarians, and firmly believe in creating and spreading peace and love.
No showers, no deodorant.
Not like that. They were just really loving, sweet people who just wanted to spread peace and love.
Tie-dye shirts, probably. That means peace.
So Jesse had a hard time finding work in North Carolina, and he decided to go to Florida to work for someone he knew. There was a guy who was having, it was like a temporary construction job, and he knew he could go down there, make some money, and then come back to North Carolina. So the plan was that Sonny and the two children would drive down to Florida at the end of this job and pick him up, and they would all drive back to North Carolina together. On the day they were planning to leave Florida to return home to North Carolina, their car breaks down. So around 7 a.m. the next morning, Sonny, Jesse, and the kids get a ride from one of the guys he was working with on the job, and his name was Walter Rhodes. So the plan was they were going to get this ride with Walter. He was going to take them to like a hotel or something to stay in temporarily until their car was fixed.
What year was this?
1976. So Sonny says they all piled into Walter's car and started driving. And Walter eventually pulls over to a rest stop on the side of the highway. Jesse was in the front seat. Sonny and the kids were in the back. And Sonny says her and her kids fell asleep because it's 7 a.m. They were really tired, and they fell asleep in the back of the car. All of a sudden, Sonny was woken up when she hears a knock on the window. According to police, they were doing a routine check of the rest area. So she gets a knock on the window from a cop. And apparently they were routinely checking this rest area. And police say when they walked up to the car, they saw a handgun on the floor between Walter, the driver's, feet. And they made everyone get out of the car.
Walter is the friend that picked them up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they pulled Walter out of the car. He's in the front seat. They pulled Jesse out of the car. He's in the passenger seat. They left Sonny and the kids in the back, but they asked for her ID, and they asked for everyone's ID. So they ran the plates and the IDs, and they find out that Walter is on parole. And as soon as they find this out and see that he is carrying a gun, the two cops pull guns on him, and they tell everyone they need to freeze. One of the cops says, if anyone moves, you're getting shot. And then according to Sonny, the next thing she knew, shots were being fired. She says her first instinct was to cover her kids. So she took her 9-year-old son, threw him on the floor of the car, and then took the baby in her arms and got on top of her son to cover both of her kids.
The mother's instinct to sacrifice their life for a child is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you also hear those stories of the mothers that, like, could lift a car off of their kid or something. I don't know if they're true, but might be an urban legend. But
yeah,
like the mother's instincts.
It's your baby, yeah. I mean, you created this being. You do everything to protect them.
That's crazy.
So she jumped on top of her kids to shield them from the bullets. She said this went on for what felt like several minutes, and then all of a sudden, everything got totally quiet. At first, Sonny thought she was dead. When she realized she was alive, she looked up to see her husband out the window staring, just standing there staring. She then also saw Walter, the driver, frantically walking around the car, clearly panicking. He then holds a gun to her husband and orders him to get into the cop car.
Wait, so this guy, Walter, killed the cops?
Well, you're about to find that out, yes.
Holy moly.
So Walter orders Jesse at gunpoint to get in the police car. And then he opens the back door and orders Sonny and the kids to get out, and he has a gun on them. As soon as her son, Eric, gets out of the car, he slips and falls. So Sonny picks him up and realizes he slipped on a puddle of blood. And that's when she realizes the cops are dead. She looks around and sees the blood everywhere and these cops dead on the ground.
And the cops had the guns out first, so he took out the gun, got them both. They didn't even shoot Walter.
I mean, they were firing shots, but they didn't shoot him.
Wow, you think they got the aim because they're like trains and stuff.
Yeah.
I would have told Walter after he said he'd like put the gun on me, like, nah, it's all good, Walter. I don't need to ride anymore. We're out of here. Go ahead.
Well, now he has them at gunpoint, and he forces them into the police car. So Sonny and the kids get in the back of the police car, and Jesse gets in the front seat, and Walter frantically speeds off down the highway. So they're speeding down the highway, and then Walter gets off this exit because he's trying to find another car to get into because he's driving a police car at this point.
He's Grand Theft Auto. This dude has 5 stars right now.
Yeah.
The helicopters are about to come.
So
all my gamers know what I'm talking about.
Well, they're trying to find a car to get into. They see an old man standing at his mailbox, and Walter pulls up next to him and holds the old man at gunpoint now and orders everyone to get into the old man's car. He steals the old man's car, and it's still a very conspicuous vehicle because it ends up being an orange Cadillac, right?
He stole a pimp's car.
So he steals this orange Cadillac. They all pile into it, and he takes the old man now as another hostage. So he has the old man, the 2 kids, Sonny and Jesse, all as hostages in this Cadillac. But now it's like 8:30 in the morning, which means it's rush hour traffic. They get on the highway and they're stuck in traffic. And they're driving, but now Sonny says she hears helicopters above, and she starts saying, "Oh my God, thank God.
I called it."
Yeah, thank God they're here to save us. I'm going to get out of this situation, my poor children. Now, this is an important thing to note. The wife of the old man, she saw the entire thing happen. She called the cops from her inside her house after watching out the window. The cops knew that there was a man holding people at gunpoint. He knew that there was a woman and 2 children in the car because the old man's wife told them. So now cops, they've organized, they've set up a roadblock down the highway. So Walter decides to try to avoid the roadblock and makes a sharp left. So all the police standing in the roadblock with their rifles, as soon as he turns, they all open fire on the car. Seriously. And eventually the car runs into a tractor trailer.
Because cops, they get super angry when anything is done towards another cop. They'll shut a city down.
Exactly. So when this happens, she jumps on top of her kids again. She throws her son on the floor. She takes her baby on her chest and gets on top of her son again and tries to shield her kids. Luckily, the only person who was shot was Walter, the driver, but he wasn't killed.
Do you know what?
He was shot in the leg.
You know what this shows me?
What?
So this lady has been, and her husband and the kids have been in cars that have been shot up 2 times in a row, and they haven't been shot. You know what the only explanation for this is?
What?
We're in a simulation.
No, this is just...
Bro, I mean, it's part of the computer program.
Well, I don't know if she would agree with that. So now the only person injured was Walter, the driver. Miraculously, the old man wasn't injured, Jesse, or the kids, or Sonny. So they take the old man out of the car right away, and they take him over to an ambulance to get checked out. They then take Walter, because he was actually shot, over to an ambulance. And now Jesse and Sonny and the kids are left in the car. They pull Jesse out and they handcuff him right away. And then he's standing there handcuffed with his hands, cuffed behind his back. And Sonny and the kids are standing next to him. And then out of the crowd of police, one cop runs through the crowd with the butt of his gun in the air and beats Jesse on the head, knocking him to the floor.
Wow.
He's handcuffed. Jesse looks up at Sonny and says, "You need to get away from me. They're going to kill me."
Wow. That's bullshit.
So now all the cops are pointing their guns at Sonny now, and she's trying to explain everything. They take her kids. They take her kids to, paramedics and cops because CPS has to get involved because there's children endangered. So her kids are now taken away from her. And she's standing there trying to explain what happened, but no one will listen to her. Sonny says that they now put them in the back of a cop car, and they drive the 2 of them down these railroad tracks to a very isolated area.
Like they're going to assassinate them.
Yes. The cops get out of the car, and there's 4 of them because there were multiple cars, The cops get out of the car, there's 4 of them, and they're all arguing. Do we take them in or do we kill them right here and claim they were trying to get away?
This is why body cameras are needed. And I don't know why it's controversial. It is a very controversial thing, but I feel like body cameras are needed because situations like this, but I also think body cameras are also needed to protect the good cops that are accused of things.
I agree.
Wouldn't it protect everyone?
Yeah.
And just don't have it on when you're going pee or poop.
Yeah, I think it would protect everybody too. It is a very controversial thing, but I don't understand, like, why it's controversial when it could literally protect
both sides.
Both sides, yeah. I don't get it either.
And
it's just a very hyped up issue.
It's whack to me that we even say both sides. Like, we should all be on the side together, trying to make sure everyone is just safe and no one's hurting no one or stealing anyone's property or something like that.
100%. So Sunny says that, they're outside arguing. And she said this is the scariest moment of her life. Because at this point, she's handcuffed. And she has 4 men who are in control of if she lives or dies.
And you can't run, because if you run, then they're going to shoot you.
Absolutely. And she's in the back of a cop car. She can't get out anyway.
Oh.
So they ended up taking them into custody. Her children were eventually given to her parents. Thank God. Her parents are close and they could take the kids. And so the kids were living with their grandparents at this point. And they take her into custody. And in the interrogation room, they kept asking Sunny what happened. And she kept saying, I really don't know how it started. I was asleep in the back of a car. I woke up. And then all of a sudden, people were shooting each other. I was just trying to protect my kids. That's the only thing I was thinking about at the time, is how to protect my kids. And they didn't believe her. She kept repeating the statement, you're trying to get me to tell you something that isn't true. And every time she would say that, they would stop the recording and start a new recording.
Wow.
And start the interrogation over again. So while they were being interrogated, Walter Rhodes was in the hospital. Walter was the driver.
Oh, if he gets off.
So he was in the hospital. And this man has done time before. And he knew he was violating his parole. So he knew his only option to save his own ass, because he was going to go obviously get the death penalty because he killed 2 cops, was that he needed to call the prosecutor and make a deal. So he did. He called the prosecutor. And at this time, the prosecutor I think this was Broward County, Florida, he was up for district attorney. He was running for district attorney in the upcoming year. So this was an opportunity for him to get 3 convictions instead of 1. So he made a deal with Rhodes. And he said, I'll offer you a plea. 3 consecutive life sentences in exchange for your testimony against Jesse and Sunny. He was even given a polygraph. And apparently he passed it. And so he got the deal.
Everyone knows polygraphs are bullshit. Even if you're innocent and they say take a polygraph, you say, Russ the profiler told me that polygraphs are bullshit. I'd like to speak to my lawyer. And then you say hashtag vote for Russ.
I'm sure they're going to say that when they're in an interrogation room being accused of a crime.
And then when someone sneaks a phone in their butt and you're in jail, use the phone, hit us up on the gram, and we'll expose the whole story on Instagram for you.
Okay.
We'll go viral.
So Sunny says, even then, she couldn't believe that this could happen to her. Up until this point, she had faith in our justice system. She was also, like I said, one of these self-described hippies. And when you hear her talk on the podcast, Wrongful Conviction, she says no one would ever in a million years think that I would be somebody who would commit a crime. I don't even eat animals because I love animals. I'm a vegetarian because I don't like the idea of anything or anyone being hurt. I'm the least likely person to hurt someone. So she just thought, you know what? No one's going to believe that a guy would take 3 life sentences. And, they're not going to believe that. An innocent person doesn't do that. So they're not going to believe him. And she really had faith that she was going to get out.
Oh, to be naive.
But that's not what happened. Jesse's trial was first. He was tried and sentenced to death in 4 days. Sunny's trial lasted 2 weeks. According to Sunny, because this was a capital case, they were all assigned attorneys. So when you're in a capital murder case, which is where you're facing the death penalty, you don't get assigned a public defender, right? You're actually assigned an attorney who is like a defense attorney who acts as a public defender.
But a public defender is an attorney.
Yes, they're a defense attorney, but these people actually own their own defense firms.
Okay.
But they come in and act as a public defender for you because you can't afford them.
So their suits fit. I make fun of public defenders more than anyone because I've been represented by them. They're very nice people. They just have very bad choices in clothes and haircuts. And if they were just on an episode of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, they would look like top-notch attorneys that could get OJ off.
I didn't mean it like that. I meant like they have their own firm and a ton of money and they get paid a lot of money, these defense attorneys. But in situations where it's a capital murder case, they were assigned a defense attorney who owns their own firm versus someone who works for the public defender's office.
So someone who might be seen as more successful.
Yes. But, because of this, they didn't try as hard because they're doing it for free. They're not getting paid. They're getting paid by the state. They're not getting paid what someone would pay them if you hired them to defend you. So that's Sonny's words, though. That's what she claims, that she feels like they didn't work very hard for her because she couldn't afford to pay them. Her lawyer actually told her during the trial, we're not going to put up a defense.
He said, if you give me some cheddar, I'll be a little better.
That's not what he said. He said, we're not going to put up a defense because there's literally nothing against you. And not putting up a defense gives me a better position in the closing argument. And she believed him because he's a lawyer. She's like, okay, if that's what you say, like, that's fine. You know how to do this. I don't. Her parents offered to mortgage their home to hire a defense attorney.
Yeah.
And she said no.
Oof.
Because in her mind, she goes, guys, I'm innocent. Like, I didn't do any of this. I was just protecting my kids. The jury's going to see it. It'll be fine. I don't want you to mortgage your house for this.
I might have thought the same thing, but then now that I do these podcasts, I'm doing it a while, you realize just stuff happens that you would never think that's going to happen.
Exactly. So during the second week of Sonny's trial, the jury was asking a lot of questions. They didn't believe that Sonny played a part in this crime. They didn't believe the actual killer, Walter Rhodes, because he agreed to 3 consecutive life sentences. So they didn't really, they knew something was going on. So the prosecutor went to the jail and he decided to get a jailhouse snitch. There was a woman who was in the county jail with Sonny at the time while she was going through her trial, who was there for drug charges. And the prosecutor went to this woman and said, if you snitch on her, he didn't say those exact words, but he said, if you say that Sonny Jacobs told you she did it, I'll get you out of jail tomorrow and all your charges will be dropped.
That makes me so angry. I think that lawyer should face any lawyer that knowingly tries to convict a person that's innocent and they know just so they could get their own benefit and gain, they should face all the jail time that person faced. Like, she got convicted to whatever. Obviously, she's going to get convicted, I know. Find him, the Herb lawyer, and
prosecutor,
send him to jail for her whole term.
Well, it's going to make you even more mad because he definitely doesn't go to jail.
Jailhouse snitches are bullshit.
They are,
because if you don't know I just went in there and out of coincidence, I told you all these crimes I did before I was even convicted.
Yeah.
Knowing that this crackhead that's picking her scabs next to me laying in bed would say anything just to get off.
Well, that's the thing. Like, jailhouse snitches have been used so many times to convict people, and everybody knows that it's just not reliable. Like, everyone knows this, but this is 1976. You have to remember the context and the time that it was. 1976, jailhouse snitches were used a lot. So the jury still wasn't convinced of this. And they kept asking for her to have a lesser charge, like accomplice to a crime or something like that. But nothing changed.
So there's only one gun. How could all 3 people be convicted of murdering the person if there's only one gun? Did they pass it to each other? You shoot now. You take one shot. You take one shot. That doesn't make sense. There's only one gun.
I don't know all the details of how the prosecutor swung it, but the jury clearly wasn't convinced. I mean, Jesse was tried separately and his jury was convinced because they convicted him to death in 4 days. Hers lasted 2 weeks, and the jury brought up a lot of questions. So closing arguments happened, and the jury had to decide Sonny's fate. The judge in the case was a former highway patrol officer. They asked him to recuse himself from the case because He couldn't possibly be unbiased in this case of killing 2 officers. He was a former highway patrol officer, but he would not step down. Another thing worth noting about him is that his nickname was Maximum Dan. And he had a tiny little electric chair that sat on his desk next to his goblet thing, whatever it's called. What's
tiny, like his penis.
Like a tiny little electric chair, and it used to go zzz, zzz, zzz. He would push a button and it would zip, zzz.
What? During the case?
During the case.
I think they should hit him in the head with that chair.
It was the result of the judge explaining to the jurors that Sonny put up no defense, and the jurors felt pressure to convict her of guilt. So they had to convict her of guilt because she didn't put up a defense. And the judge told them, like, she didn't defend herself. There's literally no question. You have to convict her. And they did. So now it's time for her to be sentenced. In the trial, Sonny was being sentenced by the jury, right? So there was one juror, and she made a point during the podcast when you hear her talk about this. She says, this just proves that one person can make a difference, because one juror refused to sentence her to the death penalty. He said, no, I don't even believe that she actually did this. I'm definitely not sentencing her to death. And he wouldn't. And it caused the jury to have to deliberate over and over and over and over. Finally, they sentenced her to life in prison. But there's a rule called judicial override. And this principle of judicial override at the time was only legal in 3 states. Now it's only legal in 1 state. And the 1 state...
Texas
or
Florida.
Alabama.
Huh.
So with judicial override, the judge can actually step in and change the sentence, despite what the jury says. So the judge said, no, she's being sentenced to death. And he sentenced her to death anyway.
Wow. In the words of Kanye West, no one man should have all that power.
I know. It's crazy.
I never thought I would quote Kanye. Or maybe so. I quote a lot of rappers.
So at this point, there was no death row for women. Sonny became the only woman sentenced to death in the entire United States at the time. The only woman. They didn't know what to do with her. So they cleared out a building. So in the jail, they cleared out an entire building because she's the only woman on death row.
Oh, snap.
They couldn't put her with the male inmates on death row. So they cleared out a whole building that was just being used for storage. And she was the only person in that building, completely alone. She was placed there in solitary confinement 24 hours a day with 0 outside time. No outside time at all. And she remained in solitary with a Bible, a law book, a toilet, and a mattress for 5 years.
Do death row inmates, are they allowed to have visitors? Like a regular person?
I don't know.
I'll look it up.
But they usually, I think, get 1 hour of outside time.
Yeah, I knew that. I knew they get the outside time. Like, I've watched some documentaries that I've been forced to without me, what do they call it? Not without your will or something like that.
Against your will?
Against my will. I've been held hostage, been forced to watch documentaries that I didn't like. You
know, she had to stay in this little tiny cell with 0 outside of time for 5 years, Russ. That's an insane amount of time. 24 hours a day for 5 years. So she actually has a TED Talk, and I'll post it. Her TED Talk is so good. It's like 15 minutes long. And in the TED Talk, she actually goes into more about her time in prison and like what she did with this time. And during this 5 years, she said at first, she literally, all she did all day was pace back and forth. For the first month, like couple months, she's just pacing and thinking and pacing and thinking. Like she started driving herself a little crazy. Then she decided she's not a Christian, but there was a Bible there, and she decided, okay, well, I'll look at it. Let me read it. So she started looking through it, and she said she did gain some wisdom from it because even though she's not a Christian, like she still appreciates some of the things that are taught in there. So she started reading some things and getting some quotes. And one day, she just opened it to a random page, and there was a Bible verse. I don't know what the Bible verse was, but the Bible verse pretty much said, they can hold you hostage, but they can't take away your inner peace and your love. And it kind of stuck out to her, and she was like, you know what? That's true. Like, all I have is what's inside of me at this point. I have nothing. I've lost everything. My children, everything. Even though they own my body, I need to protect my mind. So what she decided to do was focus on yoga and meditation. And so for 5 years...
I didn't know yoga was out in 1976.
Oh, yeah. It's been out for hundreds of years. So she did yoga and meditation every single day. And she brought herself into a place of inner peace. And she says that this is the one thing that saved her sanity.
Even though, like, if we don't believe in a religion, there's a lot of lessons that could be learned from not even just the Bible, like all religions. Just like be open-minded. There's probably good lessons because these lessons are from people's 1,000 years ago or whatever, you know. A lot has been going on before us. They may not know how to get the most followers on social media, but they can have some good morals.
Well, my good friend growing up, I was raised in Baltimore, and one of my friends growing up was Muslim, and I read the Quran with her, and I've read the Quran, and there's you can get stuff out of any religious text. There's all kinds of great lessons in all types of things. You just have to look for it.
Yeah, like,
and apply
even if you don't
it.
believe a religion, there's just probably good lessons to be learned.
So finally, after 5 years, her first appeal comes up. At this appeal, they see that the judge changed the sentence without any written explanation. So they were able to change her sentence from death to life. And this was huge.
Different prison now. You get to see people.
Yes, she got to be placed in Gen Pop. And this was huge for her. She went 5 years in total isolation. And she was like a happy, social person. So for her, this was a huge deal. She said she was so happy to see the sun, to talk to people.
Wow.
She was like, I got to sit next to people and eat. Like, she's like, I didn't even realize how important that was to just like share a meal with somebody. She became like very popular in prison as like someone that everyone really liked. But the thing that made her incredibly happy, even beyond all that, was that she got to have visitation from her parents and her children. So 1 year after she got placed into the general population, her parents took a trip to Vegas. And on the way to Vegas, their plane crashed and they both died. So she now lost her parents. And now she's lost her children because her children are orphans now, and they got placed in the system.
Oh, man.
So over the next 7 years...
I wonder how old the kids were when they got placed in there.
The daughter, I think she was like 6 or 7, because the daughter is on the podcast episode as well. She talks about her time in foster care and everything.
Holy moly.
So the son was older. He was probably 17 at this point, so I'm sure he just kind of went on his own. So over the next 7 years, so now we're in year 12 at this point, her lawyers continued to work tirelessly.
Not the original lawyer, right?
No, this is the new law team who's been in charge of her appeals the whole time. And they continued to work tirelessly for her. Sonny asked them to hire a PI to find the woman who testified against her, because Sonny said, if you find her, and maybe, just maybe, she'll be able to say that she lied. Maybe she'll have it inside of her to tell the truth. This could get me out. So they eventually tracked the woman down, and she was living in Wyoming. She was clean, and she had no idea what ended up happening to Sonny, because at the time, she didn't know Sonny. She just knew the prosecutor said, say this and I'll drop your charges.
So she was just repeating whatever she had to say to get out of jail.
Yeah.
Which, a lot of people would do the same thing.
Well, when they told her about her testimony and the impact that it had on Sonny's life, this woman cried her eyes out. And she said, okay, I'll do anything I need to do to help her. But the woman was scared to death to come back to Florida, because that prosecutor, he's now the DA. He got a promotion and he won. He became the district attorney. And she was afraid that he would put her in jail for perjury because it's making him look bad. And it makes total sense.
I hate the game.
The prosecutor found out that Sonny's lawyer was trying to come back to Florida and bring this lady. So the prosecutor actually sent someone to Wyoming to this woman's father who was like on his deathbed and very sick to tell him, tell your daughter, don't come back to Florida and do this or else, we'll put her in jail. And that actually made the woman so angry that she decided, fuck it, I'm going.
Let's go.
So
That's right. You don't tell me what to do.
So this made the woman so angry. And she came back to Florida. So they had a federal hearing, and she told everything that happened.
Give them all the smoke.
She apologized to Sonny. She cried. And the prosecutor comes to the stand. This is insane, Russ. Are you ready? The prosecutor comes to the stand to cross-examine this lady. She grabbed her chest and started hyperventilating. She suffered a heart attack on the stand.
Oh, shit.
Right there. But she didn't die. She was rushed to the hospital. And she actually had a heart attack. Isn't that crazy?
This dude was intimidating, huh?
I guess. So she was sent back to Wyoming. And they agreed to do a video testimony at this point. So she didn't have to be put under the stress of being there. Despite this woman being clean for over 10 years and everything she had to say, at the end of the day, the judge said it's a drug addict's word against a district attorney. So he sided with the district attorney.
No. But they sided with the drug addict the first time.
Exactly, but not this time.
So they're just using the narrative to win.
So Sonny lost her appeal. I know, this story.
But why did they take... Didn't anyone say, well, why would you take the drug addicts now?
No one said it because it's the judge's ruling.
No, but the first time, right now, there's no motive. What's her motivation right now to get this random lady out? Nothing, really. Like, you feel bad, whatever.
Yeah, you feel bad.
But the first time, there was motivation to lie.
I know.
There was a lot of motivation. This is common sense.
You're preaching to the choir. We all agree this is so fucked up, but I'm telling you, this is just the way the system is. Our criminal justice system is messed up. It is what it is.
It's full of corns.
It is.
The way, that shouldn't have this much power.
Yep. They have literal power over people's lives. So Sonny lost her appeal. So now in 1981, this is the 15th year that they've been incarcerated. Jesse Tafero was executed. But this electric chair malfunctioned during the execution, and Jesse caught on fire. Exactly like the movie The Green Mile. You remember The Green Mile?
Good movie.
So the sponge was incorrect. No one admitted to who changed the sponge, just like in The Green Mile. But it took him 13 and a half minutes to die after catching on fire. And this innocent man died, this horrific death. But after the execution of Jesse, it gained a ton of media attention. And it eventually led to the state of Florida abandoning electric chair altogether. And now, since the year 2000, they've only done executions by lethal injection because of this case of Jesse Tafero.
This is pissing me off.
This whole story pisses me off, I'm telling you.
Whoever was in charge of this, they all need to go to jail. And they shouldn't be allowed to breed either because they're
terrible people.
They're terrible people, and there shouldn't be more terrible people like them.
So now, just after Jesse's execution, this is her husband. She's devastated. Then she hears about what happened during the execution, which devastated her even more. She hadn't seen him in years. She said that she used to paint him pictures, and she would mail him these pictures, and that's how they communicated, through letters and pictures. But this devastated her, and a good childhood friend of hers came to visit her in jail. And this childhood friend, actually, as an adult now, was a documentary filmmaker. And she believed in Sonny's innocence, like everybody else who knew Sonny. And she said she wanted to help, in any way possible. So her friend and her friend's partner went and worked with the law team so they could help Sonny prepare her habeas corpus. So a habeas corpus, I don't know if you know what that is.
I always know what those big words are.
What is it?
They're going to prepare something to get her out.
So in our Constitution, like in simple terms, a habeas corpus hearing is when it's an order that you bring a jailed person before a judge so that they can find out if that person should really be in jail. So it's like an appeal, but it's like the last step of the appeals process.
It's like Moses in the Ten Commandments, but when he went in front of Ramsey and he said he went there and he said, "Let my people go."
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's like one of those weird Bible movies I watched when I was a kid.
But
at Charlton Heston, it wasn't that bad.
No, that was a good movie. I know what you're talking about. So they prepared her habeas corpus. But even after this, they didn't want to admit they were wrong. Even after all her lawyers proved everything. So even though her conviction was overturned, they threatened to retry her. They told her she can take a plea, say she was innocent, but someone needed to pay for this crime. So that means she would have to admit Jesse, her husband, was guilty. And although Sonny was facing freedom, she said no. She said in an interview that her integrity and her character is literally all she had left, and she was not about to throw her husband under the bus and claim that it was him, even though he was dead, even though he got executed. She couldn't live with herself if she actually said that he was guilty. So she wouldn't do it.
Sonny's the best person of all time.
She is. She loved her husband so much, and she said, my integrity is all I have. I'm not turning my back on him. Eventually, after fighting and fighting and fighting, Sonny agreed to submit an Alford plea. So an Alford plea is incredibly rare, and it's actually really interesting and weird, in my opinion, in our legal system. And it's an instance where a defendant can plead guilty for the record. An Alford plea it's like a word play. You say, okay, I'm innocent, but the prosecution has enough to convict me, but I'm actually innocent.
So I know what it's like. It's like in the cartoons when you tell a kid, when you say something, you don't really mean it, and you have your fingers crossed behind your back.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're like, all right, go up there, say you did it, but put your fingers crossed behind your back and say it.
Kind of. They're like, you say, I'm innocent, but if they wanted to put me away, they can. That's what an Alford plea is. It's all wordplay. The West Memphis 3, they got off on an Alford plea. It's very rare. It's big in high-profile cases, but she ended up getting offered the Alford plea, and she took it. And after 16 years, she was free. So her story doesn't stop there. She reconnected with her children, and now at this point, she has grandchildren.
Wow.
When she was released, she was, I think, 47 years old or 42 years old. She was in her 40s.
So she still had some life left.
Yeah. And she didn't know what to do with her life. She'd been in jail since she was 27. And before that, she was a stay-at-home mom with her son and her daughter. So she began teaching yoga and meditation because she said, it's literally all that kept me alive, kept me sane. And it's all that I could do to survive in jail. And I want to teach people this to help them through the hard times in their life. And while she was in prison in Gen Pop, she taught the inmates yoga and meditation there too. So naturally, she gets released and she decides to become a yoga teacher. And then she eventually starts working with exonerees through innocence projects. And this led her on a speaking tour to tell her story. And she went to Ireland to speak at Amnesty International at one of their events in 1998. And while she was there speaking, there was a man in the audience who really wanted to get to know her, and his name was Peter Pringle. Isn't that a cute name, Peter Pringle?
So funny because right now I was just looking up what she looks like, and then it showed me pictures of Peter Pringle and Sonny Jacobs, and I was like, "Who's this Santa Claus looking dude?"
Oh, well, Peter Pringle. He saw her in the audience, and he himself was an exoneree. He was falsely imprisoned, and he was on death row for 16 years. And after she had this speaking event, he wanted to take her out to dinner because he wanted to get to know her better, and they exchanged stories, and they both had the same thing in common, where yoga and meditation is what got them through their time on death row. So they pretty much immediately fell in love, and Sonny moved to Ireland, and they opened up a place called the Sonny Center in Ireland. And it's a place where they invite exonerees after they get out of their after they get out of jail, after being exonerated. You can go there. It's like a retreat. They give you therapy. They teach you yoga, meditation. It's kind of like a place to like regroup before you enter the world.
I might have called it like Sunny Days Ahead.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, I'm good at branding stuff.
Well, it's called the Sunny Center, and it's beautiful, the stuff that they do there. And it's like located in this home on like the Irish countryside. It's very peaceful, and it's like a nice place for these exonerees to go and kind of get their mind together before they enter the world. And you can look them up. They're online. You can look up the sunnycenter.org. You can donate to them because they're a nonprofit organization. You can donate to them. And she's still to this day doing this beautiful work for these people. And now at this point, I think she's probably 60 or 70. And her husband are just like trying to live their best life out in Ireland.
Good for them, man. After like going through a situation like that and you find someone to like that can actually relate to what you went through, because whenever someone tells you like, oh, like you tell them your problems, I understand. No one understands what you're actually going through.
Yeah, it's true. And he really did. He completely understood. He went through the exact same thing.
What do you know what he was falsely convicted for?
He was falsely convicted for killing cops.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? It's like fate almost, honestly.
I can't believe you didn't tell me a little bit of his story, just like a very brief one.
So I don't know much of his story. I should have looked into it more, but I do know that Peter Prinkle was with 2 other guys. There were 3 of them. They were out drinking, and then after drinking one night, they get into an altercation with cops. These 2 cops die, I think, and then he ended up going to jail for it.
Crazy, man.
And he wasn't involved in the killing of these cops at all. But anyway, it was...
I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
And I guess him too. If he didn't do it, I'm happy they found each other. And they both look like Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus. If you look up their picture, like if they dressed up in the mall, you would sit on their lap and tell them you've been a good boy and what you want for Christmas.
They are really cute. And like I said, I'm going to post her TED Talk that she gave because it just talks about how she made it through and how she kept her mind right through all of this. And it's just shocking that someone could deal, I mean, literally like everything she went through. Going to jail, her parents dying in a plane crash, no one believing her, everyone failing her, her husband dying in a horrible, botched execution. I mean, like everything that can go wrong literally went wrong. And she still maintained her sanity and is like the sweetest lady. She's so sweet. So even though it was a horrible story, it's also inspiring. And those are my favorite.
I guess the moral of the story, as Jess puts in all the podcasts, is never give up.
Never give up. 100%.
And we call this one Sunny Days Ahead.
Oh, that's a sweet title. Yo, we're back. 2026. How crazy is this case, though?
Yeah, that they shot up the car. And
beyond that, I mean, spending 5 years in solitary confinement with nothing but like 2 books. And they didn't let her outside at all.
Yeah, and she's innocent. And she didn't even take the plea that would let her out because it would be her saying that she and her husband was guilty together.
Yes.
So she didn't even care anymore. Like, she just didn't want his image to be tarnished.
So she was facing freedom and she chose not to say he did it. Her loyalty is amazing.
Yep.
She is such an inspirational person.
You know what? The husband, too, though, man, like, he caught a bad deal, too, because he was convicted. He didn't do anything.
Nope.
He probably was a hardworking man because he was working in another state, just doing what he got to do to make money. I guess, sometimes you take jobs out of state when you have to. I've done it. He caught a raw deal, man. He was sentenced to death. He actually was executed in the electric chair, but they didn't wet the fabric or whatever, kind of like the Green Mile, which is crazy because I didn't know that was real.
Yeah.
It's not something I really would look into. And he was burnt to death.
It's
not even
so
like electrocuted. And electrocuting ain't good. What? Listen, I'm not a deathologist or the Grim Reaper or anything like that. Wouldn't it even be more humane to put like 1 bullet in someone's head than electrocute them to death?
Yeah, but I don't
and
know.
Cheaper.
I don't know that they're trying to necessarily do the most humane thing. I mean, the electric chair has been around a long time, but like I told you in the episode, after that case, Florida stopped using the electric chair. Also, we want to say that sadly, Sonny Jacobs died in June of last year. So this is about near the 1-year anniversary of her death. She was 77 years old when she died. And it was June 3rd, 2025. And sadly, she died in a fire at the Sunny Center.
I hate to hear that.
Like, it's not even like a peaceful death. She died in a fire. Like, this woman's life. And I just can't, like, there are so many people who go through such horrible things and they just put out so much positivity. I don't know why bad things happen over and over and over again to good people.
Certain
I don't
people
know
too,
why.
it seems like there's a dark cloud. Now listen, I understand as someone who feels like they have the worst luck ever.
Mm-hmm.
She has me beat. Like, she's had it bad.
I just can't believe that this woman went through all of this and then served her community, spreading love and peace by teaching exonerees how to meditate and giving them a retreat to go to before integrating back into society. And then she died in a fire. It just makes me sad.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. And
it's not right. There's so many other people that deserve, consequences that do terrible things and don't get them.
Yeah.
Like, all the people in the Epstein files that are guilty in them.
I just want this episode to honor her and honor her memory. And all in all, like we said in the episode, the moral of the story is you have to have hope, because what she always said is that she knew she had to protect her mind. She knew the only way she was going to get through all the horrible things she was going through is to protect her mind. And your mind is so powerful, and you can think yourself into positivity. Your mind is so powerful. I tell my patients that all the time, that when they're going through these horrible health things, your mind really can make a huge impact and put you in a positive space. And I think if anybody's going through some stuff, just remember her and honor her. And if you need to meditate, but do something to put your mind in a positive place and spread positivity.
Meditation helped me when I was in pain, and I would just sit there and listen to like some weird sounds and stuff like wah, wah.
Yeah, you did meditate in the hospital. It really did help you, and it helped you fall asleep too. There were times where we used it for you to fall asleep, so It does work. Our brains are powerful, and you guys know I love the brain. So.
Well, I also don't get sick because I don't want to, so it really is powerful. I've been telling you that for a long time.
You have been saying that for a really long time, and I used to hate it because no one wants to get sick, Russ.
Even on this podcast, you've yelled at me for saying that.
I know.
Like way back in the day.
Because no one wants to be sick.
But I haven't.
But you really haven't. I mean, he really hasn't gotten sick.
No.
In the whole, almost our entire relationship, he's been sick once. He just breaks bones.
I don't get sick. I just tiptoe on death's door every now and then.
He does.
Like today, zooming around the Omeo in the middle of the street.
All right, everybody. Well, have a wonderful week. Thank you for tuning back in. So we will be back with regular episodes, back to our regularly scheduled program starting next week. And check out Patreon because we will be covering Maternal Instinct because you guys have been begging for it. So head over to clutchdefenseco.com for all of our Clutch Defense products.
Well, if you care about your family, you got to go there.
So if they don't... if you don't
love your family, don't go to clutchdefenseco.com,
So the people who go to Clutch Defense are the only people who care about their family.
Yeah, you slacking.
Everyone else is slacking.
Yeah.
Check us out on Instagram at Wife of Crime Pod, Facebook at Wife of Crime the Crime Family, and Patreon at Wife of Crime Pod. And we will see you guys next week.
Later.
Bye.